Just a busy day, Ashley replied. Where are you, if you don't mind me asking? You sound like you're in the car. I'm on my way to Dr. Morrison's office. Running late because of construction, so I'm taking the scenic route. Margaret glanced at the forest on either side of the road. Actually, I'm just passing the turnoff to the state forest. You know, where we went for that nature walk last month. Oh yes, I remember. Well, I should let you go. Drive safely, Mrs. Brennan. Thank you, dear. I'll see you next week. Margaret ended the call, but something about the conversation nagged at her. Ashley had seemed unusually interested in her location, and the story about confirming an appointment that had already been cancelled didn't quite make sense. But then again, Ashley was young and juggling multiple clients. Everyone made mistakes. What Margaret didn't know was that Ashley Kavach had been parked at a gas station just off Highway 47, waiting for exactly this phone call. She'd been tracking Margaret's movements for weeks, learning her patterns, and had been prepared for the construction detour. As soon as Margaret confirmed her location, Ashley ended the call and immediately dialed another number. She's on 47, just like we thought, Ashley said when Tyler Marsh answered. About 5 minutes from the Forest Service Road turnoff. I'm in position, Tyler replied. You sure she's alone? Just her and the dog. She's headed to Dr. Morrison's office, so she'll be on this road for another 10 minutes. Good. Stay close, but not too close. This has to look natural. What followed was a carefully orchestrated interception that Margaret never saw coming. Tyler Marsh, driving a white construction van with legitimate company logos, had positioned himself at a strategic point along Margaret's route. To anyone watching, it would appear to be nothing more than a chance encounter between a concerned young man and an elderly woman in need of assistance. Chapter 3. The trap. Margaret was listening to classical music on the radio, enjoying the peaceful drive through the countryside, when she saw the construction van in her rearview mirror. It was following at a reasonable distance, not tailgating or driving aggressively, just another vehicle sharing the road. She thought nothing of it until the van's headlights began flashing and the driver started honking his horn. Concerned, Margaret pulled over to the shoulder of the road. The van pulled in behind her, and a young man got out and approached her car. He was tall, muscular, probably in his late 20s, wearing work clothes and a concerned expression. Margaret rolled down her window part way. "Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you," the man said, his voice urgent but respectful. "But I think you might know my girlfriend, Ashley Kavach. She's a caregiver." Margaret's expression brightened. "Ashley, yes, of course. Is everything all right?" "There's been an accident," Tyler said, his face grave. "Ashley fell down the stairs at one of her clients' houses. She's conscious, but she's hurt pretty bad. She asked me to find you specifically, said you'd know what to do." Margaret felt a surge of concern. Ashley was a sweet girl, and the thought of her being injured and asking for help was distressing. "Oh my goodness, is she all right? Where is she?" "She's at the old mining road about 2 miles back," Tyler said, pointing behind him. "The ambulance is having trouble finding the location, and she's scared. She keeps asking for you specifically, said you'd helped her before when she was having problems." Margaret's instincts warred with her compassion. Something felt slightly off about the situation, but Ashley had indeed confided in her about various personal problems over the months they'd worked together. It wasn't unreasonable that the young woman would want a familiar, motherly figure nearby during a crisis. "I was on my way to a doctor's appointment," Margaret said, checking her watch. but I suppose I could call and reschedule. She's really scared, ma'am, Tyler pressed. She said you're the only one she trusts. I can lead you there, and then you can follow me to the hospital if she needs to go. Margaret looked at Molly, who was watching the interaction with alert eyes. The dog seemed uneasy, but Margaret attributed that to the presence of a stranger. All right, she said finally, but I'll need to call Dr. Morrison's office to cancel. My appointment, of course, Tyler said, stepping back from the car. I'll be right behind you. Just follow me. Margaret made the call to Dr. Morrison's office while Tyler returned to his van. Julie, the receptionist, was understanding about the emergency and rescheduled the appointment for the following week. Margaret felt a pang of guilt about the delay, but Ashley's needs seemed more pressing than routine blood work. Tyler led her off the main highway, onto a narrow Forest Service road. The pavement gave way to gravel, then to dirt as they drove deeper into the woods. Margaret began to feel increasingly uneasy. She'd been to this area before during her volunteer work, but this particular road was unfamiliar and seemed to lead away from any populated areas. After about 10 minutes of driving, Tyler's van stopped in a small clearing surrounded by dense forest. Margaret pulled up behind him, her unease growing stronger. She didn't see any signs of an accident. No ambulance, no Ashley, just empty woods and growing shadows. Tyler approached her car again, but this time his demeanor was different. Gone was the concerned, respectful young man. His expression was cold, calculating, and when he spoke, his voice carried an undertone of menace. Mrs. Brennan, I need you to get out of the car and come with me, he said. I don't understand, Margaret replied, her voice trembling slightly. Where's Ashley? Where's the ambulance? There is no ambulance, Tyler said, and now Margaret could see something in his hand. A gun. Her late husband's service revolver, which she kept in her bedroom closet. Ashley's fine. She's waiting for us at another location. Margaret's blood ran cold. Somehow, this man had been in her house, had access to her most private spaces. I don't understand what you want, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. What I want is very simple, Tyler replied. You're going to come with me quietly, and you're going to cooperate. If you do that, this will be quick and painless. If you don't, he let the threat hang in the air. Margaret looked at Molly, who was now whimpering in the passenger seat. The dog could sense the danger, could feel the tension radiating from her owner. Margaret's mind raced. She was alone in the middle of nowhere with a man who clearly meant her harm. There was no one to help, no way to escape. Why? She asked, though she was beginning to understand. Is this about the money? About what I discovered? Tyler's expression flickered with something that might have been respect. You're a smart woman, Mrs. Brennan. Too smart for your own good. Margaret thought about the careful notes she'd been keeping, the discrepancies she'd found in her financial records, the questions she'd been preparing to ask Ashley about certain transactions. She'd been building a case, documenting evidence of theft, planning to confront her trusted caregiver with proof of betrayal. I was going to give her a chance to make it right, Margaret said quietly. I wasn't going to call the police immediately. I just wanted the stealing to stop. I know, Tyler said, and for a moment his voice softened, but Ashley panicked. She thought you were going to ruin everything, so you're going to kill me instead. Tyler didn't answer directly. Instead, he opened Margaret's car door and gestured for her to get out. Like I said, this can be quick and painless, but you need to come with me now. Margaret looked at Molly one last time, then slowly got out of the car. As she did, she made a decision that would prove both brave and futile. She would not go quietly into the darkness. She would make Tyler Marsh work for what he was planning to do. "You won't get away with this," she said, surprising herself with the steadiness of her voice. "People know where I was going. They'll come looking, will they?" Tyler asked, leading her toward the tree line. An elderly woman, recently depressed, driving alone on a back road. Sounds like someone who might have gotten confused, taken a wrong turn, had an accident. Margaret realized with growing horror that this had been planned in detail. Tyler and Ashley had thought through every aspect of her disappearance, had prepared for every eventuality. They weren't just stealing her money, they were stealing her life. As they walked deeper into the forest, Margaret began to pray. Not for salvation, she understood, that was unlikely, but for justice, for someone to discover the truth, for her son Daniel to find peace despite the pain that was coming. She thought about her life, about the thousands of students she'd taught, the love she'd shared with Robert, the pride she felt in her children. It had been a good life, a meaningful life. If it had to end here, at least it had been worth living. But even as she prepared herself for death, Margaret Brennan was still fighting. She was memorizing details, looking for opportunities, refusing to give up hope entirely. The teacher in her, the part that had spent 40 years refusing to give up on difficult students, wasn't ready to surrender.